Are you tired of everyone in Skywars being super sweaty and not even being able to win a single game? Well, you've come to the right place. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to win every single game and get every single kill. Actually, that's completely a lie. I am not that good, but I know a lot about this game. And recently, I came back to playing it a little bit, and it is not fun. Everyone is good. I've noticed a lot of people have been just quitting Skywars. The amount of people playing it have just gone down. There's not much content being made, and everyone is just really good playing it. And one of the things I've noticed is just since so many more sweaty people are playing the game, people who just want to play casually are just leaving, and then there's just more sweaty people, and then more people are leaving, and then it's just gonna eventually die. Like, there's so much less players. And Bed Wars is fun, cool, but for me, my type of game, when I spend like 10 minutes on a game and then my bed breaks and I fall into void, that's just really annoying. And with a Skywars game, I usually, if I'm gonna lose, I lose in the first like 1 minute, so it's easier. I wanted to make this video to hopefully teach people some things I've learned that have made the game easier for me and made it so I can still have fun. Basically, in this video, I am going to be going through some detailed things that have helped me get a little bit better at this game and at least make it so I can win and can have fun, because this is not going to make you amazing, because I'm not amazing. You know, think of this video as I am also learning with you. So basically, the first thing I'm going to talk about is just some general PvP knowledge. I'm just going to tell you some things that I think you should learn, and I basically just suggest to watch some other YouTubers. There's many good videos on these that can probably explain it better than I can, because I am not a master in this, and it is one of the hardest parts of actually playing Skywars. This is mostly just things that you have to learn and then practice and practice and practice. Some of those things are W and S tapping and block hitting, which are all things that reset your sprint knockback. Basically, when you sprint and hit someone, the first hit will deal more knockback than the next ones if you don't release sprint. But if you either release the W key or tap S quickly right after you hit them, it will reset your sprint knockback, basically dealing more knockback, which will make it much easier to combo. Then you also want to learn how to do butterfly clicking and maybe even jitter clicking, and definitely CPS is not the most important thing, but if you can get 10 CPS, just regular or jitter clicking, that's like super good. You won't really need more than that, at least in my experience. I average like 8 and it's worked pretty well. You also want to learn how to use projectiles and fishing rods, because honestly they are so overpowered, and a lot of times people just like don't use them in Skywars, but they are so useful. You also want to learn block clutching and ender pearl clutching, or using blocks to slow others' movement, because it's really hard, and like you see videos on YouTube of people doing like 4 block extensions, but you don't need to do that. Just being able to jump to the side of something and land like with a block on the wall, like that's all you need. That has saved me so many times. Another tip that I have that I only recently came aware of is a lot of the people I've played Minecraft with in the past have all used just the base sensitivity that the game gives you. Actually, with PvP, you want to have the sensitivity to be much lower, because I know Andrew, somehow he PvPs with his sensitivity on like hyperspeed and then 800 mouse DPI. I have no idea how he does that, but it works, and it's really about personal preference. For me, I have really shaky hands, and when I turned my sensitivity down, it was amazing. Like, suddenly my aim was just so much better, and I never really thought about that before, and never heard it from any other YouTubers, so I think that's really important. Another thing I found recently is the server pvp.land. I'm not sure if other servers have done this, but this server has bots that you can play. You can set them at differing levels, and you can play a bunch of the different PvP modes, and it is so useful, because it doesn't feel like really bad when you lose because it's not another person. And they're definitely a little bit more predictable than real people, but using the easier bots to just practice all these things and practice comboing, it is really fun, and it's also just super good for practicing. I also do this whenever I feel like I'm just losing a bunch and not having fun. I just go on there, play the bots, and it's a little bit less pressure, but I still get to practice. And my last tip is kind of weird, but it's texture packs. This has always made a really big difference for me. I always like to switch up my texture pack because after a while I get almost like too used to it, and where it just stops looking good to me. And I think that if you use a texture pack that you really feel like you're playing good in, like sometimes I put on a texture pack and it just feels like I'm playing better, then I usually end up actually playing better, even though that's kind of silly. So I definitely suggest just playing around with texture packs and finding one you really like, because there's a lot of different ones for PvP, and it's just fun anyway. So next, kits and perks. This is an essential part of playing SkyWars because to me, I always want to try to find the best kit, but sometimes I just encounter people in games using completely random kits. I really do think they all have their merits. There's definitely a way that you can use every single kit and utilize it to win, but there are some kits that I've found to be really the best if you just want to go for win rate. Keep in mind, this is purely subjective. Like, if you really want to, you can do troll kit and completely win, because there's always going to be some strategy. I usually use different kits based on different maps or just how I'm feeling. Here's my top 6. Knight, Chronobreaker, Cryomancer, Farmer, Frog, and Scout. I use Knight on maps where I know I'm not going to fall off very easily, or when I'm just doing good at not falling off the map. I use Chronobreaker on maps with lots of holes where I could fall off, because it's just so useful. And I also use Chronobreaker if I just keep on like losing because I'm falling in the void or something. I use Cryomancers like very rarely on the maps. I can't remember what they're called, but they're ones where you have to go on these tiny little islands to get all the way to middle, and I just like to get a sword, some blocks, and then just throw the ice bridge egg and then get to middle. I've never actually gotten a win with that strategy, so it may not be good, but that's what I do. And then some other good kits that I rarely use but are definitely very useful are Farmer, Frog, and Scout. And again, I've heard of people using many other kits for different strategies to win, but these are just the ones that I use the most. And for perks, you can pick 6. The ones that I have are Bulldozer, Juggernaut, Black Magic, Nourishment, Lucky Charm, and Environmental Expert. I'm not sure if these are the best ones. These are just the ones that I randomly picked, and I think they're pretty good. The first thing to do when you start a game is to pick a kit that works for you on that map. This is one that you don't get hit in the void too much, so I'm gonna go Knight. Then you're gonna want to loot the chests as fast as possible. This is one of the things that seems like it doesn't make a huge amount of difference, but when playing SkyWars, it is so fast-paced that you want to do everything you can to go as fast as possible. Some things that I suggest for this are just learning how to do hotkeys and also learning how to do inventory management. For my hotkeys, I have 2 buttons on my mouse. One of them goes to 9, which is where I always keep my ender pearls. The other one goes to 3, which is where I always put my projectile. Then I also use R to go to 8. This is another thing that's purely subjective. Try to figure out what works best for you. And for inventory management, I always put my sword in my first slot, my blocks in my second slot, projectiles in the third, ender pearls in the last. I usually try to put gapples, a bow, and potions in my hotbar. Great, I don't have a chest plate. Now for leaving the island. I think that this is really important just because if you really want to maximize your chance of winning, you gotta get mid loot. So I would say if you're practicing, always leave your island as fast as possible. Learn how to speed bridge. You don't have to really be good at it. Even if you can just do like backwards ninja bridging, or maybe like sometimes I do a thing where I just go to the side and backwards while jumping and just place blocks as fast as possible, so I can just kind of get to middle quickly. Another tip I have is if someone is camping and just looking at you with their snowballs in their hand, just go for it. Because every single second you wait at the island, it's another second that some pro is going to probably be taking all the mid loot. So if someone's camping, just go for it. Just place a few blocks and jump and block clutch if you can, because if you just wait for that person to stop, which usually they will not, they will wait, you'll never get off the island, and it'll make it much harder to win. So after you've actually physically got off your island, your objective is to get mid loot before killing people. If you see someone who's just a target, like you can easily hit off with snowballs, or has like no chest plate, or you know, I use level head on Lunar, and sometimes if someone's like a level 20, then I'll just go in and kill them. But you want to be thinking of getting mid loot first. That will allow you to deal with people who are better than you. Again, don't hide. Hide when you're low and you need to go somewhere. But if you have full health, just decent stuff, then that's when you start looking for people and trying to get loot. And then the next step, this one might be one of the hardest ones, is encountering an opponent. After you've got some mid loot, you check to see if there's other mid chests. Something I like to do is if other people are fighting in mid, sometimes they haven't taken the mid chest yet. There's actually been games where I've gone up while people were fighting and just taken the mid chests when they weren't paying attention. And then, when encountering someone, you want to make sure to look at their armor, their sword, their level, or even the rank on Hypixel. Just look for clues and whether you can beat them or not. And that moves on to the next point. You need to learn how to run away. That sounds really weird, but running away has saved my life so many times, because if I go up to someone, I think like, okay, I can probably kill this guy. I go up, they start just comboing me. I need to be able to run away and kind of recoup before going into that fight. Another thing that kind of goes along with that is always be moving. Sometimes it feels like there's nothing to do and you're just kind of waiting, but if you stay in one place, you become a target. People will come towards you and try to kill you. The end of the game. This is where you kind of have to start repeating some of the other things that I've talked about, and some new things to think about are kill easy kills if you see them. If you want to win a game, you're gonna have to kill at least one person most of the time, and also wait for people to come to you. If someone's camping at an island, or some super stacked person is just waiting in middle, sometimes you do want to go over to them, but it's very risky, because if you go to an island, they can hit you off. Another thing that I don't see very many people utilizing, combining enchants. So if you have 2 sharpness 1 diamond swords, get them and just get some bottles of enchanting, and you can combine them really easily. There's always anvils around the map. This is a stage where your inventory is going to start filling up a lot, so make sure to manage your inventory, and like always make sure to look when you kill someone to see if they had like better armor that you can put on. Last thing in this section, if you can tell an opponent is definitely better than you, go for tricks. That means block trapping, pretending to be bad, then hit them off. Lead them to an unsafe area where you can hit them off, maybe with a knockback rod, or just where you have a plan, or use a bow. Bows are very useful. And now to actually finish the game, I get that kill to get strength, so I immediately go over to this other person. I see the person in the background, I know I have to kill this person first to get strength. Go for him, he hits me back with a fishing rod. I am going to use my projectiles. He goes straight into the void. I get strength. Another person just walks up. They don't know what's going to happen. I combo them, and I win. Yay. After that, I just want to say that a lot of every Skywars game is preparing for a big fight at the end. So that's why I kind of had a lot of stuff to talk about, and then right at the end, I just got to kill a few people and then win. And then the last section, winning and losing. The number one tip in this is to have fun. If you're not having fun, then just don't play, because you know the main purpose of the game is to have fun. Also, make sure to take breaks, because this is a competitive game, which means sometimes you're going to be super annoyed, and you don't want to just be annoyed and just losing and losing and losing. For Hypixel, I don't know about other servers, but don't listen to toxicity in the chat and laugh at them for just saying mean things on a freaking Minecraft server, because that's just stupid. And another thing is when you win, when you get that kill, that's really good, celebrate. Because again, it's a competitive game, so you need to celebrate your wins and chill, take a break when you lose. Make sure that your focus playing this is fun. And one of the last things is play doubles or play with a friend. I love doing this. It makes the game hundreds of times more fun, because then if you get annoyed, you can say to your friend, oh my god, that's so annoying, I just died. And that feels much better than just being by yourself, losing, and then just being like, you don't have anywhere to put those emotions. So, and it also makes it much more fun because when you win, you can celebrate with your friend. So that is the end of all my tips. If you enjoyed this video or got any useful information out of it, please like and love yourself and have a great day. Bye.